Okay, so I just had my sneak peek, the pre-release for Supreme Darkness, and we got new Crystron cards. So you guys have been seeing me play Adventure Synchron, but now it's gonna be Adventure Crystron. It's very similar. It's part of the ROM family. So initially, I got there and I asked if we were able to play the new cards for the event, and I was told no, which is rather odd. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So then I was like, I got my backup anyways. I have my Adventure Synchron list that I can just play. I had to construct it because I was prepared like, wait, maybe they'll let us use a new set, but apparently not. But then a few minutes later they announced, okay, now you can use the new set. So I was like, oh yes. So I was able to get the commons quite quickly, but the super Crystron, the Tristalos, that one was so difficult to find. Almost no one pulled it. So I was kind of worried. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to play it then because no one's pulled it. And then someone pulled all three. I was like, oh, that's cool. And he lent them to me. So like, oh, awesome. So I had to give them back at the end of the event. But nonetheless, it gave me a chance to play the deck. Awesome. So thank you. There was only 4 rounds of Swiss. No top cut. Round 1 was against Atlantean. I lost a dice roll and I just got destroyed. It was so bad. And then round 2 was against Fiendsmith of Monica. That deck was wild. That deck is always wild. I ended up going 2-1. I ended up taking it in time, unfortunately. Like time is like time is like damn. And then round 3 was Trap Tricks. That was 2-0. Yeah, Trap Tricks. Luckily I won a dice roll for that one. And then round 4 was against Voiceless Voice. That game was wild. Okay, so be on the lookout. I recorded some of these games and I'll be uploading them during the week. But be mindful that it was my first actual tournament with the deck. Like before that, I was just all theory and just basically memorizing combos, right? But in a tournament setting, I still had to like really understand the deck in a way where you were in some weird situations and you could like do some niche things. And I learned a lot playing it today, for sure. It changed the perspective slightly, but for the most part, everything functioned as it should have. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so let's get started. So first off, of course, you're going to be playing Terror Top. It's a bridge for your entire deck because we play Adventure and we play Crystron. So what this does is it enables you to get what you're missing. If you have Adventure access, then this makes Cherubini and it dumps your Crystron to give you Crystron access, and vice versa, right? You just dumped Enchantress, search for Enchantress, and then get an Omni. It just reinforces your board. So like it's basically makes your end board a bit stronger and allows you to be more resilient with your sequencing. Even though like the most devastating hand trap for some decks is NIBIRU, like this deck does not care about NIBIRU. Like even Imperm Veiler does it literally doesn't matter because you end up summoning back everything. At the very least, you end on Infinity and your trap at the very least off of 1 card, right? Which is wild. But yeah, that's basically why it's here. You play this because of the bridge that it provides, and it's pretty good. And then, of course, you have your Adventure Engine. You have your Triple Enchantress, your Griffin, Triple Rights, Fateful, Dracoback, and, of course, Fool's Burial. Fool's Burial is an insane utility card because it can get you access to Enchantress or it can get you access to Engine, which is pretty damn good. Keep in mind that the discard is very significant in this deck because sometimes you want to just discard the SMIGER, and the SMIGER is the one that searches you the new spell the deck got in this set. And then, of course, you have your Crystron Sofofnir. This is basically another access to your tuner, Crystron Tristaros. For those of you that don't know what this does, basically it's like Bone Archfiend. You can discard a Crystron card and summon it from hand or grave, and then you can pop a card. Usually you pop itself because it has a grave effect when it's destroyed. You can special summon a Crystron monster from your deck, which is another way to get access to the new tuner. And then, of course, you play the new level 5, which is Crystron Sofador. Playing this today made me realize that I think maybe I have to bump this up to 3 because there are a lot of times where I opened some or I opened multiple and I needed to summon 2 for the Tristaro's effects, and I was like, oh damn, I'm only have 1 left, so I can't summon the other one. So it was very odd. So I feel like maxing it out, it makes a lot of sense, and I think I might try that next time. For those of you that don't know what this one does, basically, you can pop a Crystron card you control and special summon it from hand or grave. And then when it's summoned or special summoned, you can send 2 Crystron cards with different names from your deck to your graveyard. And then of course you have your tuners, you have your 1C tree. In the past, you would play more of this card, but not anymore. You got the new tuner. So you have the Tristaros. I was borrowing 2. I would manage to get 1, but this card is insane. Okay, so first off, C3, for those of you guys that are not familiar with this card, basically, during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can synchro with this. So you were born a monster in your graveyard, and then you can synchro into a machine synchro and banish the materials. It's pretty good. And then this is the new one. It's the Crystron Tristaros. So basically, whenever your opponent activates a card or effect, you can chain this and to it. Synchro with your deck, essentially. This summons a monster from your deck, summons to the field, and you synchro with the cards you control, which is really good, because this one you're kind of forced to only synchro with the card you summon, which this one allows you to synchro with any cards you control, which is like a big difference. You can just notice that how much of versatility that deck has because of it. And then in the graveyard, you can banish it to pop a synchro to summon 2 Crystrons from your deck. And then of course you have your searchers, right? This card's insane. SMIGER. This searches your new spell. So the good thing about the adventure stuff is that you can go Fateful, search, and discard it, so you don't have to burn your normal summon. But this is what Cherubini will be sending majority of the time, either this or your Enchantress. And something that I might consider or reconsider is playing more of this card, because when you open up your Sofafnir and your new spell, you can play past so many hand traps. It's crazy, because like the choke points is stopping this guy from dumping 2 names, so they're gonna most likely interact here, and then they might want to Ash here when it tries to activate its effect to summon from deck, and then you have this because you discarded it off of Sofafnir, and then this will add your Tristaros, and you just have a combo anyways. So like with that in mind, it made me rethink having to bump this guy up. I'm not sure. I mean, 1 was okay, but I think just for the deck's consistency, maybe I might increase it to 3, which is, I don't know, but we'll see. And then of course you have the turtle. This one's a bit up in the air. Like some decks don't play it, but this card is insane. Because like I mentioned, there's some niche things you can do in actual gameplay. Because there were so many times where I just like foolish this with either Foolish Burial or Sulfador, or I would discard it off of Fateful, and then special the Sulfador from hand, right? Special, and then preserve its revive effect, which is huge. I don't know, just little things like that. Or even special summoning your Tristaros came up a lot as well. Like just banishing this, special this from hand. Like, I don't know, it just, this little guy overperformed for sure. And it's part of your end piece anyways. It's how you get your Kondax and you set up your Black Rose line, which is pretty insane. And then of course the new spell, this spell is insane. This is basically a Rhoda and a Reborn in 1 card. So basically this one always search, well, this doesn't always search this guy, but for the most part, it gives you your 1 card combo with it. On activation, you add a Crystron card from your deck to your hand, and then in the graveyard, you can banish itself and special a Crystron from your graveyard. For those of you that don't know what the old ones do, all of these, they have a field effect. So this one pops a card you control to summon a tuner from your deck. This one as well. But when you use that effect, you're locked into only summoning synchro machines. And then of course you have your trap. This card is wild. It's a layered interaction board where it's not just a build board. You can have like a back row that pops cards. It's pretty hectic. So basically what this one does is cards you control cannot be banished by your opponent's card effects. You can target 1 face-up card on the field, or you can target 2 if you control a Crystron synchro monster. Shuffle 1 Crystron card from your graveyard or banishment into the deck except Crystron cluster, and if you do, destroy the targeted cards. You can only use this effect of Crystron cluster once per turn. So like, it's cool. At the very least, you can pop 1, and at the most you can pop 2, right? And it helps you recycle your Crystrons as well, so you don't have to like max out certain synchros, or sometimes you want to return your C2 back into your deck. because it does come up. Or maybe your turtle. The turtle, recycling the turtle was actually pretty significant. And then the non-engine. The non-engine is subjective. Like you can choose whatever non-engine that you feel like you rather use. This is just what I was playing. Triple nib, triple ash, triple imperm, 3 bestials, one magna, triple druis. This was a last minute addition. I was talking to some of the guys in the members chat, and then Edward was like, "Oh yeah, try out this." And I mean, the matchups I went up against, I mean, I guess it could have came up, but yeah, it was okay. I didn't get to use them, so I can't really tell. And then of course you play Droplet because I was scared of Dweller because this deck struggles versus Dweller. Like it's just, yeah, it's not funny. And then of course you play triple Tactic Thrust because if they charm you or if they ash you or they draw you, at least you can like snipe their hand and then maybe get something out of it, or just draw to get deeper into your deck, get access to your adventure. Like it's a pretty good card right now. But yeah, that's the deck, the main deck. It's just 50 cards. I feel like adding and going above 40 it's fine because of the amount of starters you have and the variants that this deck can provide. It doesn't make it inconsistent. It just makes it to where your opponent will interact suboptimally because you have so many ways to play and so many variables to account for when you're initiating your turn. You can't really do that with 40 card builds because like it's very streamlined. As cookie cutter as I possibly could have made it, but because the engine is kind of big, wanted to make sure that I was able to fit a lot more non-engine to ensure that I'm interactive as possible without affecting the deck's consistency. So it worked out fine. I didn't brick once. It was just, everything just flowed so nicely. So just give it a chance. It's only 50 cards. It's like 50 is like my 40. It's like, it just feels good. The side deck, you can put whatever side deck you want. The extra deck, okay, so I'm playing 1 Crystron Core and Gandrax. Took a while to learn how to say that, but I'm pretty proud. 1 of this, maybe 2, but I'm not sure. This was meant to be the Navy Dragon mech, but I was not able to get it in time. It's still in the mail, but I couldn't find one on the day. But I think this one was pretty cool because being able to banish like like the sequence that's equipped to the Desiree is huge. And the other Link guy, the one that reborns and equips itself, the one that gives them the attack boost, like that one, banishing backer. But like, yeah, this should have been the Navy Dragon mech for sure, like for sure, hands down. And then of course your double, this is insane. Double comes up a lot, even though you can recycle it. And then of course you have your Samurai Destroyer. This is what allows you to play past Nibiru. Like it's so good. Black Rose, part of your end board. Because I'll show you the combo after, but it's meant to be double dragster because double dragster does come up. It's just insane how frequently it occurs that you need to have to. Chambara is part of the OTK and turn 3 because after you do your board and you nuke them, the board's cleared. Hopefully, most of the time it is. And then this is part of your OTK because you have everything in place, like everything's engraved, and you just swarm them, and then you just make that guy. Quandak is part of your setup to make your Black Rose, and it also helps you make this guy as well. And then you play your links, you play SP, you play Clockwork Knight, and you play your Infinity package. You play Nova, Infinity, and of course Cherubini. I wasn't sure on Mikaba. I was going back and forth on Mikaba or not instead of this before the event, but I ended up going with this. The deck functioned well. Like the extra deck feels nice. The only thing I might change, I think everything's fine. Everything worked out fine. Everything's fine. I think just missing the Navy Dragon mech, but apart from that, everything just fine. But go ahead and try out the deck. It's a lot of fun. It's a higher card count deck, but just trust me, you will not brick. Yeah, you just won't brick. I mean, it is possible to brick, but like it's not gonna brick. Okay, so I'll be showing you guys the combo that plays around Nibiru. Like it literally doesn't matter where the Nibiru is. It's pretty wild. So it's just 1 card. You activate Crystron Inclusion, giving you your Crystron Sofador. Activate Sofador, popping your Inclusion. Goes to grave. Summon. On summon, it triggers. Sends 2 Crystrons with different names to your graveyard. You're almost always dumping the purple and the yellow because if you have to search this off SMIGER, then you have to dump the trap so you can add it back with your LS. Okay, just keep that in mind. So you dump this and this. You then activate TEESPRING, giving you your SMIGER. You then pitch the SMIGER for your souvenir. Special. Then you have to destroy a card in the field, pop itself, trigger engrave, summon your Tristaros. You then synchro into your 7, go for a Lesk. A Lesk will trigger on summon, adding back your TEESPRING. You then activate the effect of Tristaros, banishing it, target a synchro and destroy it, and summon 2 Crystron monsters. You summon both of your Crystron souvenirs, and then on a new chain, a Lesk will trigger. Whenever it's destroyed, you can summon back a Crystron from your banished or your graveyard. You revive your Crystron Tristaros. So you're beyond 5 summons here, so if they want to nib you here, you just chain this and you still end on your Infinity and your Trap. Okay, but let's just finish off the sequence and then I'll show you what happens if they NIBIRU you. So right here, all you do is go into your Nova, and then you go Infinity. You then activate the effect of SMIGER, giving you the trap, set trap. So this is just off 1 card, okay? It seems very minimalistic, but it's enough to stop your opponent and turn the game into a grind game, which is what the deck loves to do, because you have graveyard resources and you just try to out-resource your opponent from there. But let's say they NIBIRU you, and this is what I mean when it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's say you're here. Let's say you're back here, right? They drop Nib. They activate Nib, you chain Tristaros. Okay, chain, summon a monster from deck, and synchro summon with it. You go into Samurai Destroyer, and the Nib resolves, giving you a Nib token. And then your Samurai Destroyer will then trigger, reviving your any level 5. And you still have your Inclusion. Inclusion will banish itself to reborn a Crystron monster. Grab the other Sophofnir, and then you go into your Nova, avoid the Anima Zone, and overlay for Infinity. And then you activate your SMIGER, banishing it, adding you the Trap. So even if they drop NIBIRU on you, you still end on an Omni and a Pop with just 1 card, which is pretty cool. And once again, it doesn't really matter what they drop it. Even if they drop it of Nova, then if you play Makaba, you get double Omni, because that means you summon Makaba off of Nova's effect, and then Destroyer will summon back the Nova, and then you overlay then, like, yeah, it's insane, it's pretty crazy. But there's like an actual end board that I do with Black Rose. It's a bit more risky, but nonetheless, it's still a board that I like to do, and the reason why I play the Black Rose. Okay, so it's still 1 card, activate Inclusion, add your Sofador, activate, pop your Inclusion, special, effect on summon, dumps 2 Crystrons with different names. You dump your Sophofnir and your TEESPRING, activate TEESPRING, adding you SMIGER, effect of Sophofnir, special, pop a card in the field, pop itself, effect in graveyard, summon a Crystron from deck, summon out your Tristaros. You then synchro 7 into your Lesk. Lesk will trigger, adding you back your Crystron TEESPRING. You then activate the effect of Tristaros, targeting a synchro and summoning 2 Crystrons from your deck. So you pop this. And typically you summon 2 Sophofnirs or 2 5s, but in this case you'll summon your turtle and 1 of the 5s. You then activate the effect of Lesk, reborning your Tristaros. And then now, Inclusion revives your 5 Crystron. Because in the previous combo, we didn't use this unless we got NIBIRU'd. So now you're putting it to use. So now you go into your Nova, and then you go into Infinity. Okay? And then now you activate the effect of your turtle, popping itself, summoning out your Citri, and then you normal summon your TEESPRING. You then activate the effect of SMIGER, giving you the trap. And you will be passing on this. And the reason why this is cool is because you can Black Rose them on their turn, which is pretty awesome. So on their turn, during the main phase or battle phase, preferably the main phase, I guess, you activate this, revive your turtle, synchro into a 4, you go into your Quandex. Okay, so then now you're here, all right? And there's a few niche things you could do, possibly. You can still go into your Koran Gandrax. You can still go into your Dragster. you can go into double dragster, you can go into another Crystron synchro in case you want to add back, you can go into your black rose, right? So let's say you're starting to get overwhelmed, right? Burnt your pop, you've used your negate, you thought that maybe a dragster would have been enough, and you wanted to save the nuke just in case you need to blow up everything, right? So let's say you do this, effect of this, summon this, you go dragster, okay? So they've already used up your interactions. And then you're like, okay, well, yep, I guess, yeah, I had no choice. Synchro with context effects. You synchro summon to Black Rose and you nuke. You might be asking yourself, like, why would you nuke your whole board? Well, because you want to ensure that you can win. Because obviously, if they're trying to push past and they were able to get to this point, then this is like your failsafe, right? This is like the contingency you have in place in case you do get overwhelmed and maybe they had a card that you did not expect and you just nuke the board, right? So you destroy everything. And the cool thing is that your graveyard is full of resources, right? So then it goes to you, you draw a card, it doesn't matter what it is, okay? So on your turn, you're going to go for the OTK because you've nuked the board, right? Activate TEESPRING, giving you a SMIGER. You then pitch for Softener. Softener will then pop itself. Summoning a monster. Softener, but you don't send, you don't pop, okay? I mean, you could if you wanted to. You then use SMIGER's effect. Another copy of Inclusion. You then activate Inclusion, giving you access to your Tristaros. You then normal summon. Go into the second copy of your Alesk. And then you activate the effect of Alesk, giving you back your trap. Activate the effect of Tristaros. Popping this. Summoning out your last Tristaros and your last SMIGER, okay? And then you trigger your Alesk, reviving itself. You then synchro these two into Chambara. You then activate the effect of your Sofador, popping your Inclusion, summon this back, and then you can use Inclusion effect, revive another Crystron, right? You can revive this, you can revive, it doesn't matter. You can revive this one. It really doesn't matter. You revive your Tristaros, you know? And then, assuming the board is cleared, after you Black Rose, you nuke, and you attack for game. Like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's the combo basically. It's a lot of fun. There's a few things you can do where you can out-clever your opponent, because depending on whether you open this, whether you already have access to this, whether you don't really care if they ash this, you already open this, whether you have this but you already have access to this, like there's so many things you can do to outplay your opponent, make him think like, okay, yeah, this is like the choke point, so I'll stop here. Like most of the time they're gonna want to stop him. They're gonna want to stop your Softener, right? The float, so you won't get to him. But then, what if you already opened it? You know, so it's like the pretty cool things you can do with it. But it's a lot of fun for sure. It increased the power level of Crystron without a doubt. But that's basically it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.